Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching, I don't know yet, but today I'm going to teach you how to do the contains duplicate problem, aka leet code number 217, using JavaScript. So without further ado, let's get it. Okay, so let's first start by understanding the prompt. So I'm going to read it real quick and then I'll explain it again. So it says, given an integer array of nums, return true if any value appears at least twice in the array, and return false if every element is distinct. So this is pretty straightforward, I think. Essentially, return true if there's a duplicate, return false if there are no duplicates. Okay, so let's quickly review what kind of data structures we can use here. So we could use something like a map, okay, and this will store key value pairs. Or we could use something like a set. A set contains no keys, but all the values are unique. So it's just a set of unique values. In this case, the set is going to be more lightweight, and it'll be more beneficial for this use case. So we're going to use a set today. All right, so for example, if we're given nums 1, 2, 3, 1, well, we want to return true because there is a duplicate, okay? So what we first want to do is we want to create our set. So we can say something like const set equals new set, right? And essentially what we want to do is traverse through the nums array, okay? And just keep adding these numbers to the set, right? So let's say we go through the first index or the 0th index, okay? And let's add 1 to the set. All right, well, we add 1 to the set, and we know that if this was the end of the array, that we'd return false because 1 is the only value, okay? So through the first pass, we might have a set equal to 1. Okay, but now let's say we get to the second index where 2 is, right? Or the first index, really. Well, we've already had 1 in the index, right? And now we have 2 in the index, okay? And we say, hey, for 2, did 2 exist before? And we could see that it didn't, right? So therefore, if this were to finish right here, we would also return false. Okay, so let's go ahead and loop through these arrays, loop through the nums array. By doing so. So we're going to say for const I of nums. So this is just a shorthand way of doing a for loop, such that I is our index, okay? So for each I in nums, right, we want to say if set dot has I. In other words, if our set contains the num that we're looking at, so in the first iteration it'll be 1. If it has it, okay, then return false, or so return true. Okay, so if it exists in our set already, then just return true. Okay, now, regardless of whether or not it was in the set, we still want to add it to the set. So how we do that in JavaScript, we just say simply set.add, and then it's going to be I. So for the first iteration, I would be 1. Okay, now, if it makes it to the end of this loop, right, then we can return false. All right, and if we run that, we got the right answer. Runtime 78 milliseconds. Okay, so the reason why this works is because in the case that we do run into a duplicate, so for example, in this case we do, right? We go 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so this is our loop, and if we're looping through here, if we get to 1, then we never finish the loop, it just returns true. But let's say this 1 didn't exist, okay? Then we'll get to the end of the loop, we get outside the loop right here, and we return false. Okay, fine. But there's actually an even more efficient way of doing this, okay? And what we can do is we could take advantage of this set. Remember earlier we said this set or any set in JavaScript must contain unique values. Okay. Also, we didn't really need to manually add numbers to the set right here. We can actually just do it all in one line of code. Okay. So what does that look like? Well, essentially we can say const set equals new set, and we can actually just pass in nums here. Okay, and what that does is it takes everything in nums, right, and it actually removes the duplicates and puts it in this new variable called set, right? So then essentially we can just return set.size and see is that equal to nums.length. Essentially we're saying, hey, if we have only the duplicate values, or sorry, only the unique values inside of our set, if it's the same size as nums.length, then in fact nums.length must be also unique, right? Else there must be extra or duplicates inside of our nums, and we can return this and let's see what we get. Okay, so the value was accepted. And if you're noticing here, we can even make this a one-liner by simply saying, hey, return a new set of nums, and then grab the size of it. And if we run this, oops, good. Run code, do it one more time. Okay, and look, the runtime is even smaller. Why? Because we don't have this extra line of code. Okay, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later. Peace.